Welcome to the 411 Sports World Podcast, where we bring you the real sports talk. Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, tennis, sports lines, debates. You want it, we got it. We'll give you clear, concise sports knowledge for fans across the globe. Happy holidays, and thanks for listening. Now introducing the panel of experts. We have Wasi, Rod, and Mr. 411. Again, thanks for listening.
All right. We're back. Today is November 23rd, 2015. This is the 411 Sports World Podcast. This is our NBA edition. The season is off and running, and we're here to give you basically a report card of the first month of action. As usual, I have the guys with the knowledge with me, and Wacey and Rod. They are in the building tonight, and they're ready to give you the 411 and give you their in-depth assessment of the season so far. So, fellas, how's it been? How's your break? Happy holidays, and all that good stuff.
Man, everything been good, man. Good break, man. Enjoying the NBA season so far.
Oh yeah, same here, man. Just enjoying this time off, man, and just sitting back, waiting on the holidays, man, and enjoying basketball. That's about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. The season's off and running, and usually about that December 25th, Christmas Day, that's kind of like the opening the big day for the league. It's showing themselves off, showcasing themselves to the world. But for the diehard NBA fans, everything kicked off back in October. Man, so much action so far, so much to get into. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. The Golden State Warriors. This is the team here that's on a roll. These guys, they're undefeated. So, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 15-0. They're looking to do some historical things here coming up, and that's what we can, go ahead and talk about. The state of the Warriors, and whoever wants to go first, go ahead and have at it.
But man, I just jump right in it, man. What they're doing is phenomenal. I mean, all the haters and all the chatter. At the beginning with the Doc Rivers comment, the Clippers, and people saying, oh, they got lucky and this person was hurt. I mean, hey, myself included, I even viewed it as well, they really caught some breaks with the guys being hurt. But I mean, don't call it a comeback. I mean, they really just really solidifying and really, putting that stamp on it that, hey, we won the championship last year and they coming out early letting you know that this wasn't a fluke. So, we ain't going nowhere. So yeah, hats off to them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, let me jump in there, man. I don't want to toot my own horn, man, but on that last podcast, man, I think I told y'all, man, they was gonna come into the season feeling real disrespected, they heard all of this woulda, coulda, shoulda, and all who they avoided and things like that, man. I just think once you've been battle tested, man, and once you're a champion and you know what it takes to win, and then you become disrespected, man. It just, I think mentally they went to another level, man, and that's why I believe we're seeing the things that we're seeing out of them, man, because I think that championship run, regardless of who they play, they battle tested, man. They got mentally tougher, man. So, I just, hey, like Rudy T said, man, you never underestimate the heart of a champion, man. And I feel like, especially the Clippers specifically, along with some other guys, commentators and things like that, were saying little stuff, man. I just think they felt disrespected, man, and they out to prove a point. And that's just my take on it.
Yeah. Well, here's my take on it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, the question I always have is, when teams make a start like this and going in like this, will it work against them or will it work for them? Because, you got to look at the wear and tear when you taking everybody, you taking the whole league's best shot, everybody gunning for you to break that streak. And I've seen some teams, they've gone on streaks like this, 20 game, 24 game win streaks, and sometimes it works out great. It galvanizes the team, and then sometimes it just takes a toll. Guys, they're putting out more effort than they normally would put out, and pacing themselves. So I just wonder, is it a good thing in terms of Golden State? As a fan, I love to see it, but is it good for Golden State?
Well, I look at it like this. Just to answer your question there, I think it's a great thing. And what Golden State's doing is they are, and let's just go ahead and put it out there, it's been 40 years in between championships. So it's not like Golden State wins championships year in and year out. But this will show the entire league that you can build a championship team if you draft well. If you draft well and you stick to your plan, eventually things can work out for you, along with a couple of key, free agent additions. So I think it's great for the league to have this going on. It's not just your typical, heavyweight, star-studded type of team. It's a unit of about 10, 11 players that all know what their role is, and they have depth, they have playmakers all the way through their roster, and that's one of the things that makes it tough to play Golden State, is that they know what they're coming to do, and they're going to play their way, and it's up to you as the opponent to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you don't stick to your style and you try to fall into how they play, you're not going to win. You're not going to beat them. They also, they've been together, at least 3 to 4 years as far as a core group of players. So they have the cohesion, and every night, the way they're playing, they're going to be right in a position to win on a nightly basis. Have to give them their due. And speaking of that, with the 15-0, do you guys feel like Golden State at this point, can you write them in as the Western Conference representative in the finals?
Well, let me jump in.
Go ahead.
Now, as much as I knew that they were going to come in and prove a point, if you go back, I picked the Clippers. That was a mistake on my part. But I don't think Golden State will make the finals this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna win the Western Conference, the regular season. They're gonna go into the playoffs, the number 1 seed. And depending on how that Western seeding falls, they may make it all the way to the West Finals. But if they have to play a team like San Antonio, actually San Antonio is the only one I see that can beat them in the series right now. I don't think OKC or any other teams can beat them. But if they have to play San Antonio in the West Finals or any time before that, they won't beat the Spurs in the series. I don't feel. Now I feel they're going to win the regular season, and they're going to continue their great play. But I don't have them going to the finals. I don't.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
I definitely agree with Wace on that. My thing is, and I've been, like that small ball lineup is deadly, and I really admire how they playing, and definitely, hats off to the coaching staff, for throwing in some of the triangle sets, because right now, like, they're not even running plays, they're just doing reads. So, and it's definitely hard to deal with. But I'm gonna say this about San Antonio. when they do that small ball stuff, I don't think it's going to work on San Antonio because unlike a lot of these other big men that are afraid to play in the post or uncomfortable in the post, Tim Duncan and LaMarcus Aldridge don't have any problem getting on that low block and abusing it. And I think you mess around and you put somebody like Harrison Barnes or Iggy on Tim Duncan going to turn the clock back, and he's going to give him the business. And he's going to force their hand into going to a bigger lineup. And then once they go to a bigger lineup, they're pretty much they're still a good team, but they're not as deadly as they are with a small lineup.
And I agree with you on that point. And that's where if you all may, we can touch on the game from last Thursday between the Clippers and Golden State. Because I do have the Clippers, coming out of the West, even though right now it doesn't look that way. There's a lot of turmoil going on, a lot of different things. But if you look at what they have to offer, outside of what you just mentioned about, dropping it in the post, the Clippers gave them everything that they can handle. You know what I'm saying? Even on the road in the first matchup. So it's not like they're unbeatable, but you have to stick with your game. And I like what you said about what the Spurs, what they can do. And they're going to stick to who they are, go inside. You just have to, if you want to beat Golden State, you got to stick with your plan, and you got to slow them down. You got to slow them down, and you got to hope that, okay, they don't shoot 60, 70% from the field. And also with Draymond Green, man, he is, in my opinion, he's the key to their team. Draymond Green is, because when he can play the 5 and he's able to make plays out of that position, he's setting all the shooters up, for knockdowns. And until you solve that, get him out the game with the fouls, that's when you go back to what you said, abusing. I mean, that's the formula to get them. But we'll see who can do that. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss on Golden State?
Well, I mean, it's kind of time. I want to address that Clippers game too, man.
Yeah.
And I really think, we kind of touched on this the other day when it was on Facebook, but I really feel like Doc Rivers is getting exposed right now.
Okay.
When he deals with Golden State, because he doesn't understand his personnel, it seems like to me. The fact that, he won't stick with Josh Smith to go up against Draymond Green, who, being from Georgia, I've watched Josh Smith over the years, and he's battled guys like LeBron and Carmelo Anthony. So he's guarded small forward type guys. And really Draymond Green he's a 3-playing center.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think Josh Smith could really give him fits if Doc Rivers would stick with him. I mean, honestly, the lineup I would go with would probably be Chris Paul at the 1, J.J. Redick at the 2, Wesley Johnson, another guy who he simply refuses to play, so you'll have some defensive presence on that wing. And
right.
Then Blake Griffin at 4, and then Josh Smith playing the 5. That way, I think you'll really match up Blake Griffin. He should still have a clear advantage. You got Wesley Johnson who can defend that perimeter, whether it be Harrison Barnes or Klay Thompson, and you let the 2 point guards go at it, But that keep playing DeAndre Jordan is going to backfire. DeAndre Jordan doesn't like coming out the paint. DeAndre Jordan isn't going to give you anything offensively other than lobs. I think that you have to match down with him.
Yeah, and one of the things that happened in the off season with DeAndre signing with Dallas initially. Now looking back at it, it may not have been a bad thing if he actually did go through with that. And think about a guy like Zaza Pachulia. He was floating around out there, and he may not be, the force on defense like Jordan is, but hey, that he would have fit nicely, based on the way he's playing now with this Clipper lineup. And then also, using guys like Josh will help too.
Yeah, I tell you what, don't let Dallas mess around and have a better record than the Clippers. You won't shut Mark Cuban up.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna say him up.
So. Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to see. So yeah. Wait, so you got anything else before we move on?
Yeah, I just want to chime in on the Clippers right quick, man. I know I mentioned earlier that I made a mistake by picking them to come out of the West, and this is why I feel that way. And it's coming from unsuspecting guys because I thought it would be Lance Stevenson, but it just seems like Rod say, man, it seems like Doc is having some trouble with the team. I don't know if it's necessarily personnel or who to play, but it just seems like a little bit of, in the beginning stages of kind of like losing the locker room a little bit. It just seems like it to me. And I noticed the other day, last week, I think that game against Golden State, I think Lance Stevenson got a DNP, coaching decision. I don't know how long he's going to sit around and before, I heard Josh Smith was in the locker room arguing with a coach or something like that. And it just seems to me that they got a more of a chemistry problem, more so than a personnel problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just seems like, man, it's just something that they brought it. They made a lot of moves, but I don't necessarily know if they were the right moves. It don't look like they were the right moves. I know it's early. But I don't know if it's gonna get better, man. I really don't, man. I don't know if it's gonna get better for the Clippers, man.
You got a lot of guys that want to play. You got a lot of guys that want to play.
Well, they're not gonna sit DeAndre Jordan out. I know you mentioned that. I mean, they locked him in the house and made him sign a contract, man. They gave him $100 million, man. They like bet the guy, so they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying don't play him at all. I'm saying, basketball, in this era, is really about matchups more so than anything. Everybody's trying to make you play their game. And so when you go up against certain teams like Golden State, DeAndre Jordan will have to take a back seat. Now, DeAndre Jordan will be more important if you play in San Antonio because they got a big lineup, So that's when he'll come out and earn really earn his money. But, the name of the game is to win. I mean, I know I paid you all that money. I know you, but hey, it don't mean nothing if we don't win.
Yeah. Well, and also what you did mention there is a key point. Let's go back to Golden State briefly. With the fact that they've been together for so long as an entire unit, they have the cohesion and all the guys know their roles at this point. Look at when you mentioned like maybe one night not using Jordan, the Golden State. They don't have a problem with sitting Festus, Ezeli, and Bogut against the Clippers, and then the next night against the Bulls playing those two guys. You know what I'm saying? So they don't have a problem with doing that. And so, in fairness, we do have to look at Doc Rivers at this point because the talent is there. I have no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that the Clippers are not one of the most talented teams in the league. Of course, you got to mesh a lot of the strong personalities together, but that's Doc Rivers. He should be able to do that. He's a Pat Riley disciple. He had to coach Paul Pierce, Rondo, Kevin Garnett, Big Baby, Tony Allen, Posey. All these guys were all on one team, so he can handle personalities. He should have the experience in doing that. And he played with the Knicks when they had all those personalities on the Knicks squads under Pat Riley. So he should be able to get this done. And, it's going to take some time, but it won't be easy. It just won't be easy, especially in this conference.
Hey, and since we're on the subject, I just want to go ahead and, address all the people that I feel like got some locker room issues.
Yeah.
Looking at the Rockets. The
Rockets,
as a Laker fan, I'm laughing. I'll be honest with you. As a Laker fan, I'm laughing because this confirms how I felt when Dwight Howard and Kobe was having issues. And Dwight, for some reason, he feels like he has to have the ball and have plays run for him. And the irony of it is he really didn't have plays run for him in Orlando. Dwight Howard used to average 28 and 16, and he used to just get his points off the board, off the glass. They really didn't run a lot of plays for him. And it's like now he's a prima donna with it. I have to get the ball, and I'm seeing bad body language from him. I'm seeing when James Harden is breaking his man one-on-one, I know Dwight. I mean, because, you know, as a matter of fact, I live in Orlando, so I watched him for years. Mm-hmm. When that shot go up, Dwight Howard is moving bodies out the way going to get the rebound. I'm seeing shots go up and Dwight Howard not moving. I'm seeing him just looking at the ball and just going back down with his head now, upset because he didn't get the ball. And that attitude and body language, it permeates through the team. I'm seeing a divided locker room. You know, and another problem with Dwight Howard is he's a very passive-aggressive person. So he won't say what's on his mind directly. He'll say slick stuff under his breath, make a joke about it, whisper in a team ear or whatever, but he won't say what he has to say. Sorry. Say he has I lost him. So, you know, I think that's something to watch for. You've already got the coach fired, you know, by not giving effort. And, you know, the person I'm really seeing out there that's not giving effort is Dwight.
Well, that's a big surprise. And since we're on the topic of these surprises, man, you know, the Rockets firing, you know, Kevin McHale, in my opinion, that was a surprise to me. And I think he's taking the hit for, like what you're saying, you know, the issue with Dwight Howard. And I do think there is a polar opposite going on here between Howard and Harden. Harden is a ball dominant player, and he's more going to either shoot the three or he's going to the basket. And, you know, but you know what? This is what Howard asked for. You know, if he stayed with the Lakers, he was going to be a focal point. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't want to, you know, it seems like he didn't want to be on the same team with Kobe Bryant. And that's not happening in Lakerland until Kobe retires. But hey, it validates it. I'm actually glad he's not there as well. Because we can touch on it later, but I like what the Lakers are actually doing. But are there any other surprise teams? Do you have any, Wason?
Well, I just want to jump in there about Houston.
Sure.
I'm reading. I kind of got a different read from how you and Ross reading it.
Okay.
I read a report. I think that the Dwight thing about you know, not being able to go get the rebound, I just think that got a lot to do with his effort. I think age is catching up with him, man. I don't think Dwight is as athletic. And you know, he don't move around like he used to move. I think that got a lot to do with the back issues he's been having, and it's just, you know, I just think he's getting a little older, and he's just not going to be the same Dwight. But I read a report that when they had the team meeting, it was the rest of the guys that were upset with Dwight and James Harden because they felt as though they were separating themselves, like it'll be like Dwight and James Harden, you know, kind of away from everybody else. Like they'd be all together doing their own thing, and the teammates didn't like it. So I don't necessarily know if it's a Dwight and Harden rift that's going on, and I don't see that on the court either. I just think I think James Harden came into the season to prove that, you know, he was worthy of the MVP. So he was coming in trying to prove a point, you know, and it may have resulted in him being a little selfish. And I don't think the other guys took too well, you know, to it. I don't necessarily think it was Dwight. I think it was just maybe like Ariza, Brewer, and the rest of those guys, because I can see those guys, you know, because they're pretty much team-oriented guys. So I can kind of see those guys calling him out about it, and, you know, and Dwight, too, if they feel like, you know, hey, you know, y'all separate yourself from the team, you know, like, what's up with that? So, yeah, Houston is a surprise, but I don't necessarily believe it's a James Harden and the Dwight Howard rift going on. I think it's you know, those two versus the rest of the guys. That's what I see.
Well, also, you know, Ty Lawson was brought over to be a key addition this year, and he's basically non-existent. And, you know, and unfortunately, you know, I was thinking that, you know, he would have more opportunity to handle the ball, and Harden would be more of a finisher this year. But it looks like Harden is being allowed to play like he did last year, which is at the end is going to hurt him. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that too. And the thing about it is, you know, if you recall from my last podcast, I was very excited about the Ty Lawson pickup.
Absolutely.
I was looking at him in preseason. Ty Lawson had the ball in preseason, and James Harden was scoring easily. And somehow or another they got away from that. But you know, like, see, I got League Pass, just to let y'all know. So I see.
Yeah.
You know, I tune into a lot of games, and so I mean, and so like the body language thing is just, you know, it's just my eyes just seeing. I'm seeing just bad body language, man. It's, you know, just the passive aggressive attitudes, man. And I mean, it ain't, and it's not just Dwight by himself. You know, Wasey, he touched on Trevor Reeves. I seen, you know, Trevor Reeves would just kind of start jogging back down court as James Harden was dribbling, you know. I'm just seeing the wrong stuff going on, you know. So, you know, you can't.
I think Harden.
You can't do that.
I think Harden. Obviously, he's the leader because Dwight just isn't the leader, and I think Harden has got to just got to pump his brake on the individuality thing, man. And you know, we all know he can play. We all know he's an MVP candidate, and he can't come in and just try to get his and just. You know, just going for an award. You know, that's how it looks to me. I mean, he's just got to be a team guy, man. Because like you said, they got a nice team and they got the pieces, man, to make some noise if they were to play together. But James Harden, it starts with him, man. Because everybody looking at him. So if they feel like he's being selfish and stuff like that, you know, they gonna shut down, man. Kind of like what we seeing now.
Yeah. And I tell you what, there's another surprise team, and we'll get your take on this, is the New York Knicks. Record-wise or not, I mean, just watching them on the floor, the eye test, it looks like, you know, the players they're playing together. People are starting to figure out their role, and if anything, they're more competitive. You know what I'm saying? So the arrow is definitely pointing up in New York. What are your thoughts about the Knicks?
Well. You know, I picked them as my 8th seed, and you know I was on the fence with the Derek Fisher thing at the beginning of the year, but it seems like that's blown over. So, but Porzingis, man, I think that I was watching him a couple of games. I was like, well, you know, he's just doing a couple of tip back dunks and everybody's hyped up. But the more and more I keep watching this guy, man, hey man, he's for real, man, and slowly but surely, you're gonna start seeing him step into that number one guy role, man, and that can be dangerous with Carmelo being the number 2 guy. But yeah, man, I like what the Knicks are doing, and you're right. You know, it seems like they kind of like learn their roles, buying into the system a little bit more this year. They're definitely more competitive. So I seen that, in them with some of the things they did during the off season. But like I said, man, the Derek Fisher and Matt Barnes thing kind of had me on the fence. But you know, I mean, they coming around, man. They gonna be okay.
Yeah, what you think, Rod?
Yeah, I mean, you know, one thing about it, Phil Jackson used to always say this. It always takes a year to implement the triangle completely. And so I think what we're seeing now, we're seeing guys know where to be on the floor. Because, you know, from everything I understand, everybody talk about it, they say it's pretty hard offense to learn. And it's definitely, you know, if you're going to hire a triangle offense coach, you definitely have to be patient that first year, really probably the first 2-3 years. But once everybody gets it, watch out. And, you know, and I'm really starting to see that now. And you know, Derek Fisher, he's doing a phenomenal job. As far as the rookie goes, you know, like, you know, he's definitely made it a 2-man race, because at first it was like, you know, Okafor way out front. But, you know, he's definitely that game he put up the other night where he had like 7 blocks and you know, 24 points, and, you know, I don't know, 12 rebounds, whatever. I mean, it was a great game, man. And, you know, he put up a few more like that. yeah, it's definitely gonna get real interesting for the Rookie of the Year. But yeah, he's definitely you know, looking to be a force to be reckoned with. My only trepidation with him, the only thing that I'm really looking at him with is like, is guys that tall. Once you get into 6'3", I mean not 6'3", I mean 7'3" and 7'4", and they start thinking about these guys who have foot problems and knee problems. So just watch for that, you know. I mean, and I see it time and time again. Just when they start to really hit their stride, and that's when the injuries come. I've seen it happen to Yao Ming. I've seen it happen to Sean Bradley. I've seen it happen so many times where, you know, these tall freaks of nature, they start breaking down quick. So just watch that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he can continue to weigh 100 and whatever pounds he looks like he is, and maybe that'll keep a little bit of that weight off his foot. But yeah, it happens, you know. Big guys, long legs, you know, it wear and tear night in, night out. But we'll have to monitor that. But I like what the Knicks are doing. Another surprise team is the Mavericks. You know, they're near the top of their division right now. Have a lot of quality wins as well, and very competitive. Mark Cuban again. He may not have landed that big free agent. You know, he missed out on the Aldridge, along with other teams, but he also, and then the year before that, you know, he missed out on LeBron sweepstakes and the Melo sweepstakes and all that good stuff. But he always finds those solid veterans that are just looking for somewhere to play ball, and he gets them for cheap, but they're able to mesh and be competitive. So, what do y'all think about that?
And you got a damn good coach in Rick Carlisle.
Exactly.
When you got a coach like Carlisle,
that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say, man. I was gonna say that's a testament to Carlisle, man. I mean, that guy right there. You know, and me and Rod talked about it a couple of times. You know, at first I had Popovich, then I had Doc Rivers, but Carlisle, he's the second best coach in the league, man. I mean, his body of work, man. I mean, it speaks for itself, man. Because like you say, these guys shouldn't be really. I mean, Dallas, right now they're in the thick of things, man. I mean, I thought they would take a big step back as far as wins, losses go, but I mean, they still right there, and I think that's a direct testament to Carlisle, man. He's been a great coach that he is.
Yeah. Well, give it the credit is due, man, and like. If anything else, man, them guys play hard, man. They playing hard and they're playing together, and they playing with purpose. You know, they're not playing for next year. The Pacers, you know, Paul George returning back to the league. He's looking impressive. You know, Paul George looking like the two-way player that we all have, you know, known, and he may not be 100% back, but I mean, he's definitely showing flashes of it. So. What do you all think about Paul George and his return to the league?
Oh man, I mean, I'm surprised this guy is doing what he's doing. I mean, the fact that, you know, I mean, like, he's dunking on dudes. I mean, I really thought he was gonna come back more like Sean Livingston. Like, okay, he's a good player. I love to have him on a team, but, you know, all right.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, you want to talk about bounce back? I mean, he bounced all the way back. You know, I mean, I guess ain't no Grant Hill in him. So.
With me,
there you go.
It's definitely Paul George. He surprised me because I seen a couple of things out of him for the couple of games that he came back last year. Watched a little bit in the preseason. It looked like. You know, when he drive the lane, it looked to me as if he was trying to watch how he land, or he was trying to avoid contact. So I was under the impression, I was like, you know, he's not going to be as aggressive as he was. He's not going to be the same guy. But I mean, he's made me a believer. And he's looking like the Paul George of old, man. It's very surprising because I didn't think that he would be the same player. I mean, he possibly, you know, the game slowed down a little bit. He possibly got, you know, he could be a little bit better, man. You know, so yeah, he's definitely a surprise, Paul George. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know,
and I just want to say this too. I go as far as to say, looking at that Pacers roster, if he hold at a top 4 seed, I'm putting him as an MVP candidate.
Yeah. And, that's one, we're not tooting horns tonight, but that was one of those teams I was debating about at the bottom, to get in at the 8 seed. But, man, I would never even think, top 4 seed, but you're right. I mean, he's got to be in that conversation. And speaking of MVP candidates, you mentioned Paul George as a possible candidate. I know we all are going to agree that Steph Curry is one, and LeBron James.
Yeah.
But are there any other MVP candidates? You could just base it off of the first month of the season.
I think that's it. I think those are 3 guys that are really standing out, as far as, MVP caliber performances.
Yeah. How about Andre Drummond?
Drummond, he may get defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drummond, he's definitely man. He's coming around. He's more like the young Dwight. He's not really having a lot of plays called for him, but he's just giving effort, and he's young. He got the youth, man, and he can move around, and he's just athletic, all of that. I think he probably would win something like most improved or something like that, if not defensive player of the year. But yeah. I want to speak on my guy, man. I try not to speak on him a lot, man, because passionate about it. But I'm gonna speak on LeBron just a little bit right here.
LeBron James is your guy? No way.
Yeah, LeBron. Right. Yes, sir. But let me just speak on him. It's something I'm seeing out of him.
All right.
If he wins the MVP, I don't think it will be because he's trying to win. In years past, I think that he was shooting to win an award. This year, I'm seeing a guy he's much smarter. He's pacing himself. He's not pushing the issue. I think that he got a championship in mind. And I'm just watching him, man. I'm watching the substitution patterns, how in games he's picking and choosing when to put his feet on the gas and stuff like that. But man, that dude right there, if he keep playing like he's playing, he may extend his career extra 2 or 3 years if he continues to do it. Because he's not putting a lot of pressure on himself as far as just in-game performances, stuff like that. Whereas in the past he would dunk a ball, now I see he'll lay it up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just I'm impressed with him, man, because I can see the game slow down for him this year. Like I'm looking at him and I can really tell that it's really easy because the mental part, like it always been easy because he's just a physical freak, so he can score easy and all of that. But I'm talking easy in the sense of knowing where to be at, picking his spots and stuff like that, man. Hey, I'm telling you, man, Cleveland, they're going to be scary when they get everybody healthy. I'm telling you, they got them win.
Oh, yeah.
They went to the finals last year. They went to the finals last year, and they was up 2-1 in the series. So,
right.
So it's not like they're that far away. They was only 2 victories away from winning a championship. So,
right.
LeBron. I was going to touch on a couple of points you made on LeBron. Well, he's a veteran now. You know what I mean? He's been in the league, forever now. So he knows the league. He's a smart player, and it's called leadership, experience, and all that combined, because his years with playing in Miami, going through those 4 seasons of playing in the finals, 4 straight years, he knows what it's like to come back from a loss in the finals. He knows how hard it is to actually win this thing. So he's leading by example. I mean, doing things like, hey, taking away the introductions now. Getting on his guys saying that they're not taking it as serious as Golden State is at this point. These are all mental things that he's picked up from Pat Riley, playing behind Pat. I mean, I'm sure those are tactics that Riley has used and things like that. So, I think that's going to make LeBron an even better player, than he's ever been. I mean, he's not going to do it maybe in a spectacular form, but yeah, I mean, he's a smarter guy now.
But yeah, I want to speak on LeBron a little bit, and you know, just to make it known, I mean, I'm a bona fide LeBron James hater. But man, a few days ago, I was at a kid's birthday party. I was, you know, with some friends, and I found myself defending LeBron passionately. You know, everybody's really, you know, prisoner of the moment, really getting caught in the moment, and hearing a lot of chatter about Stephen Curry, the best player in the league, and
man, I'm about to hang up the phone, man.
I'm just saying, I hear a lot of chatter.
I'm about to hang up the phone, man.
And so it was like, man, you know, as much as I don't like LeBron, I couldn't agree with that. So it was just like, I mean, how do you guys, you know, feel about this new mantra that Stephen Curry is the best in the league right now?
It's called media. It's called people jumping on whatever's new. I mean, this has been going on for years, man. You know, Michael Jordan came along. Now he's better than Magic. You know, Kobe comes along. Everybody says Kobe's the, you know, he's better than Jordan. He's the next Jordan. You know, it's always going to be the next player that comes along and is playing well, and then everybody forgets about this one guy that's been doing it all that time. You know what I mean? Because LeBron, there was a lot of talk about LeBron, better than Kobe, and Kobe's prime. Even Kobe still winning championships. LeBron's better. You know, this is, and now when the torch LeBron, it keeps going.
You know what? I want to say this though about what you're saying. The part that used to make it difficult for me with those LeBron James argument as a Kobe fan was that LeBron would have better numbers some years.
Yeah.
You know, LeBron would win the MVP. And so, you know, I have these guys telling me, hey, you see, LeBron's better than him. And I'm like,
no.
Get past the numbers, get past the MVP. Who won the championship? And the thing about it is, in this category, Stephen Curry got better numbers. Yeah. Like, I had a hard time arguing. Even though it was like I was going purely on eye test, I had a hard time arguing because I'm like, okay, Stephen Curry got better numbers. He got the championship. He beat LeBron in the finals. I'm like, I don't know how and why I'm arguing for LeBron, but I just know what I see.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy, man.
It's nothing against Steph Curry. It's just that, you know, if you're going to compare LeBron and Steph or something like that, it's more to it than just, okay, who looked the best right now, who's scoring a lot of points, who's doing. It's the overall game. And you also got to factor in, and I'm going to say this, Steph Curry is a great scorer, but he's not a great basketball player. He's a great scorer, and he has ball handling skills, and he can shoot the lights out. But he's also a part of something that's great. He has a system. He's in a good system with the right type of players around him, the right type of things that can cover up flaws that he has that other players, you know, don't have that luxury. So it's not saying that he won't be one day, but if you're going to talk about that right now, it's not even close in my opinion. Wasey, you can chime in from there.
Okay. Yeah, like you're saying, man, with the hype, you know, I mean, he's doing some unbelievable things. I mean, I find myself looking at the guy like, I'm like, wow. You know, definitely not a better all-around player than LeBron. No, it's not even close. But the thing that he does is sort of shoot the ball and the way he plays offense, he does it at such a high level, man. And he's so great at it. You know, I have to disagree with you that he's not a great player. I think he's a great player.
I think it's too soon for that.
Well,
We've seen a lot of guys who could score throughout the history of the league. I mean,
I didn't necessarily agree with you on that either because I'm like, well, he do more than score. He's stopped 20 assists as well. He you know, I think he's I think he's number 3 in steals.
I think we throw that term around too fast. I mean, to say great.
Well, let me explain. This coming from my point of view. And me and Roy go at it about this, man, and he pretty much is on the mindset that you have, Mr. 411, with the too soon. See, this longevity thing with me, I'm saying for real, if you're not like a first, second, third year player or something like that,
okay,
I'm not gonna crown you great or greatest or whatever. I'm not gonna do that. But I think after you start, 5, 6, 7 years, okay, it's okay to start exploring those options. I think Curry's been around. What is this, his 6th season or 7, something like that? 6?
7, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so to me, that's kind of midway. That's kind of midway point. So I don't think it's necessarily to label him as a great player, or I catch a lot of flack from people when I say he's the greatest shooter of all time. Well, I feel that way because he's consistently doing it, and I mean this ain't a fluke, man. I mean, like the same thing he's going to be doing now. He's going to be doing, in my opinion, 2 or 3 years down the line. So to me, I can go ahead on it and just say it, man. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen, man. So as far as the longevity thing goes, that matters to me, but it's not the end all be all with me. Especially if you're in year 6, 7, 8, stuff like that. It's not too soon for me, man. It's not too soon for me.
But to me, the conversations it hasn't come up. It's only coming up because it's based on what happened last season and the first month of this season. Like, if he was playing this well, where was this conversation 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago? Like, that's what I mean. Like, if he does this another season or two, then, in my opinion, now I'll be ready to go further.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like this right here. You remember? It was probably about maybe 3-4 years. Man, who's better, Kobe Bryant or Tracy McGrady? Well, we all know how that worked out. We all know how that worked out. And not to say that Stephen Curry is Tracy McGrady by no stretch of the imagination. Stephen Curry has been deep in the playoffs plenty of times, gone on win championships, this, that, and other. But I remember people saying Tracy McGrady was great, and I'm like, I used to be like, okay, well, he's good. And I'm like, oh, no, he's just as good as Kobe. I'm like, I don't know, man, pump your brakes. But
with me on the Stephen Curry thing, Mr. 411, well, I'm just gonna speak for me. It didn't just start last year and the first month of this season for me.
Okay.
I was kind of, when Mark Jackson was coming out saying they were the best shooting backcourt that he's ever seen, that he's coached, and that. People thought he was crazy, but I popped my brakes on it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit back and watch. And I think that year right there, it could have been like 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was. I think Stephen Curry broke the 3-pointer single season record. Then he came back next year. He came back the following year and broke that record. And then, like last season, he broke the postseason record in 10 less games. So I'm like, man, you know what? This dude is not showing any signs of slacking off, and he's consistently doing it. So for me, just me personally, it didn't just start last season and the first month of this season. For me, I've been watching him, and I've been under the impression that, hey, you know what? A couple of years ago, I was saying he could be, but now I'm just gonna go and see it, man. He's the best shooter I ever seen. He's the best shooter I've ever seen, man.
Well, you won't get much argument.
I'm one of these people that, because I'm very cautious about disrespecting people that have come before. I see no reason why in my book Curry will be. I'm just like, okay, let me see, man, because I'm like, I put it. Like, my whole thing is, I understand it's a different era of basketball. The shots that Stephen Curry is allowed to take, guys back in the day, they'd have been put on the bench. Even if they make it, the coach don't cuss them out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
or your opponent's gonna put you on the floor. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
The first opportunity you come to the basket, that mouthpiece is coming out, man. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So I mean, like you can't give guys the forearm shivers. You can't, I mean, like this guy, like Stephen Curry is a monster, man. But yeah, you put him back in the 80s, put him back in the early 90s. Hey, you got Anthony Mason and Oakley. I mean, so for this era of basketball, he's the best. But I just gotta, I gotta weigh him on a scale because I know that what we're seeing is not the same as what we saw back in the day in terms of the rules and the way the game is played and what the coaches will allow you to do.
Yeah, but I hear all of that. But that ball still got to go.
I hear you.
That ball still got to go in that hoop, man.
Hey, it's a great debate, man. It's a great debate. It's a great debate. It's not like it's way off one way or the other. I mean,
right.
It's definitely worth talking about. But I think we all agree that he's not past a LeBron at this point, though.
Nah.
I think that's a little bit. I think that's a little bit of a reach, and I think that LeBron has got a chip on his shoulder about that. And if they meet in the finals, I would love to see what happens if the Cavaliers happen to win. I would like to hear what LeBron has to say when it's all said and done. Did he have some secret motivation about that?
Let me say this, man. I'm going to tell y'all just how good I feel about Cleveland, man. If they're healthy, and which I think they will be. I think they're healthy now. I think they're just holding guys out. I think they're just trying to get through this regular season, whatever. But I'm going to tell you how good I feel about Cleveland. And y'all might think I'm crazy. If they go into that playoffs 100% healthy, they will win the finals, whoever they play, in 5 games, man.
Wow.
In 5 games,
wow.
They'll win the finals. That's how good I feel about that roster, man.
Well, you know what?
Let me say this. I gotta say this. I feel good about Cleveland too, Waze. I really believe they're gonna win it this year. But you know something? If they see San Antonio, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a real problem. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Cause Kawhi Leonard, that dude Kawhi Leonard, I know LeBron wake up in the middle of the night seeing that boy. I'm just gonna put it like that.
Well, we're gonna see, man. We gotta see if the Spurs can make it this year. It's gonna be interesting, guys. I mean, this is just the first month of the season, and look what all we had. Well, look at the discussion that we had so far. We're talking about who's the greatest player in the league. We got debates about that. Surprise teams, surprise rookies, and there's a lot of rookies that are playing well. I mean, I know we're running out of time here, but you guys mentioned Okafor as a possible Rookie of the Year candidate, and then Towns is looking good. Porzingis, and there's a lot of guys helping their teams like Winslow, with playing the right roles and everything. So, those are things that we're gonna keep an eye on for the.
Notice who you did. Notice who you didn't
mention. I didn't mention D'Angelo Russell yet. However, he's starting to get more run now, and they're starting to allow him to operate the offense. They said something about giving him 90% of the play calls, this past weekend. So they're starting to get him to come along. He had 14 and 6 the other night. So that's a work in progress, and I know me and you, Rod, are going to have our Laker debates on that, which we could definitely do on our next podcast. And just to give them a little tease, one of us feel like, it was a good decision, and the other one doesn't. But we'll definitely get on that on our next show. So be ready for that, Rod, and fans. But any parting shots before we close out?
I don't really have anything to really dive in on, man. Just enjoying basketball. I will, toot my own horn a little bit real quick. Shouts out to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Phoenix.
Yeah, man.
I really talked about Phoenix, but hey, Phoenix doing anything.
Yeah. They're playing, man. They're playing ball.
Me, man, my part shot, man. Like Rod said, man, I'm pretty sure this thing with you, Mr. 411, man. I'm just enjoying it, man. I'm just enjoying basketball. Man. It's back, man, and it's interesting, and that's the way it should be. And I'm just enjoying it, man. I love basketball. That's it.
Hey, well, I can't say it any better than you guys. I love the game, and it's off and running. And I know we're talking about the professional game, but hey, the college level, the high school level, the middle school level, the rec level, it's all coming, man. Basketball is alive, and if you are a casual NBA fan, I challenge you to tune in to those games and watch it. I mean, the action is there, and there's more than just 2 or 3 teams playing, that have a chance to win this year. I mean, we're talking what you think, guys? Maybe 10 to 11 teams have a shot at it this year, legitimately.
It's definitely competitive out there. Like you said, it's more than it's competitive, man. I see probably a good 5 or 6 legit. It's definitely a couple, 4 or 5 more that's gonna compete.
Yeah, that's about what I see. That's about what I see.
Yeah. And then, that's not even counting the other 4 or 5 that might pull an upset. So,
right.
It's there, man. I mean, there's a lot of good young talent in the league as well. So, just tune in and keep an eye on it. And whoever your team may be, follow them, give them that support. And I know Wasey's going to support his Cavs. Rod and I are going to we're just going to tune in and watch the Lakers by ourselves. But I'm
like, hey, this is what I'm really, really, and I know it may sound messed up. I'm like, I hope we lose every game, but the rookies look good losing. Because I don't want to give away that pick. I don't want to give away the pick.
Right, and that's going to be key, man. So, that's the same thing I'm doing, man. I'm watching them play, just looking to see how they develop, and play hard, but don't lose that protected pick, because there's a guy in LSU that's coming out, man, and I'll tell you another one before we go. I like that 7-foot guy in Gonzaga, Sabonis. I think he's going to help a team next year too. But if we can get that man.
And as usual, take whoever the best player is for Kentucky.
Yeah. You know they're gonna be.
I'm gonna just wait the next time.
There it is.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, look, guys, I enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys being on, bringing the knowledge, and it was very enjoyable. We're gonna do this again soon. We're gonna give the league, a couple more weeks of action, and then we're gonna touch base, before the big NBA, showcase for Christmas. So we'll do a preview on that, and we'll touch on the Lakers debate. We're gonna touch on keep an eye on we're gonna keep an eye on Golden State and see if they're still undefeated by the time we get back on the air. Also, we're going to keep an eye on the 76ers, and hopefully they'll have a win by then. And then and all the other things in between. So the voice upstairs is about to step in and do his thing. But on behalf of Rod, Wasey, and Mr. 401, we thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.
Mondays usually have a pretty bad rap. But when teams win huge games and have days off, Mondays are sometimes good. The task then becomes making sure that Monday and the congratulations and back patting that go with it under such circumstances are in the rearview mirror by Monday afternoon. That's when practice starts. And Mondays are then geared towards upcoming games, not just the one that just passed. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the 411 Sports World Podcast with the team of experts, Wasey, Rod, and Mr. 411. Until the next time, again, thanks for listening. Good night.